Good day to everyone. I'm THIVVYATRACYNY and I'm going to be presenting on the research about the association between psychological distress and emotional eating with weight change among Malaysian youths throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And as for the introduction, psychological distress have influenced an individual to choose food that are poor in diet, especially that food that are high in palatability and so high in energy, which has led to weight gain during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, according to Robinson et al. 2021. And therefore, this study aims to investigate the correlation between psychological distress, emotional eating, and weight status among Malaysian youths during the post-pandemic. And the objectives includes to assess the psychological distress among Malaysian youths using the Depression Anxiety Stress Scale 21, and to assess the emotional eating among Malaysian youths using the 3-factor eating questionnaire revised 18 item, and to investigate the weight trajectories due to the pandemic lockdowns, and finally to determine the correlation between psychological distress and emotional eating with weight change among Malaysian youths throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And this study was a cross-sectional study involving Malaysian aged 80 to 30 years old using convenience and snowball approaches. And the study instrument includes sociodemographic and weight status was self-reported by the respondents, and Depression Anxiety Stress Scale 21 was used to assess the psychological distress. 3-factor eating questionnaire revised 18 item was used to assess the emotional eating. And the data analysis includes descriptive statistics, PET samples data, presence correlation tests, and linear regression. And the results of the study reveals that there were females were majority of the respondents for the study, and most of them were coming from the age group of 18 to 24 years old, and about 97.9% were single, and most of them were having a tertiary education, and about 60% were Indians. And the results of weight change status after the pandemic shows that 49.4% of the respondents gained weight with an average weight gain of 3.60, and about 35.3% lose weight with an average weight loss of negative 3.90. And the results of psychological distress during the post-pandemic reveals that 18.7% were experiencing mild to moderate depression, and about 19.6% were experiencing mild severe anxiety, and about 2.1% of the respondents were having mild stress. And the emotional eating score reported here was standardized raw scores with a mean of 36.41 and a standard deviation of 28.88. And a path analysis was built to investigate the correlation between psychological distress, emotional eating, and weight change during the post-pandemic. As you can see here, there was a significant positive correlation between depression and emotional eating, but it did not contribute to weight change as there was no significant correlation reported, as well as there was a significant positive correlation between stress and emotional eating, but somehow it did not contribute to weight change as there was no significant correlation reported. However, this study has shown no significant correlation between anxiety and emotional eating with weight change. And among these three psychological distress, individuals tend to eat more emotionally when they are having depression and stress, which has contributed to emotional eating, but somehow it did not contribute to weight change. And this could be due to the fact that the magnitude of weight change was not high enough to show the significant correlation. As for the discussion, this study has shown a marginal increase in the prevalence of overweight and obesity, which is 36.2% during the MCO 3.0, and after MCO 3.0 it was 37.1%. And a similar study conducted by Tan et al. 2022 also indicated a marginal increase in the prevalence of overweight and obesity, which is 48.4% to 49.2% during the MCO 2.0. And Pearson's correlation test was used to test the significant difference between sociodemographic and economic status with weight change. And those variables that portray a p-value less than 0.25 were selected as confounding variables, which then further used in linear regressions. So in this study, there were several confounding factors that have influenced the body weight status, such as age, gender, marital status, ethnicity, highest educational attainment, and current monthly income. And a significant positive correlation was observed between depression and emotional eating during the post-pandemic. And a similar study conducted by Su and Foster also reported the significant effect of depression and emotional eating, which has shown a higher depression score has associated with higher emotional eating score. And a significant positive correlation was observed between stress and emotional eating in this study, where stress was one of the causes for an individual to choose food that are poor in diet, especially high in energy. And it was common among the emotional eaters. And there was no significant correlation between anxiety, emotional eating, and weight change in the study, where it was consistent with the findings of Pigeon et al. 2013, showed that emotional eating was not significantly associated with anxiety. And as conclusion, the psychological distress was eased off during the pandemic, and as well as a higher mean score in emotional eating was reported in this study. And to reduce the psychological adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic, especially on Malaysian youths, our government should take initiative and efforts to preserve the work possibilities and mental health services. That is all from me. Thank you very much.